Your background, very eclectic and diverse background in corporate Australia, in the arts, as in advocacy. Did it prepare you for your current role? How did it speak to the symbolic importance of what you're doing, but also the very functional aspect of your role?
Yeah. He said, I wanted someone in this role who would bring to life the office and reflect modern Australia and do it in a way that that brought everyone together, that everyone would feel that they belonged. And we could talk cricket as much as you like, because this is a very, very favoured place of our cricketers to come to Sri Lanka, of course. And that is, I am the daughter of a veteran, an army officer who served Australia for 40 years.
I think you touched on a really important point. Leadership ultimately is, and leadership in a very modern multicultural democracy. It obviously poses challenges, is a great responsibility, and also has possibilities and potential. And your role, in a sense, embodies those three very vital objectives. Your background, very eclectic and diverse background in corporate Australia, in the arts, as in advocacy. Did it prepare you for your current role? How did it speak to the symbolic importance of what you're doing, but also the very functional aspect of your role?
Yeah. I asked a question of the Prime Minister when he asked me if I would serve. It was the why me?
Yeah.
And he actually had looked at my history, and he said because he wanted modernity and visibility and optimism, he said, I wanted someone in this role who would bring to life the office and reflect modern Australia and do it in a way that that brought everyone together, that everyone would feel that they belonged. And if I reflect on my career, I've done many diverse things. As you say, I've spent a long time in the Australian business community, both in management and in governance on the boards. I also spent a lot of time in the not-for-profit civil society community, in international aid and development, in youth affairs, looking at gender equality and women's economic stories. I've done a lot of work in sport, particularly Australian rules football, but not limited to that. I served on...
But not cricket.
Not cricket, although I am the patron of Cricket Australia, so I now have a very strong relationship with our cricketers, and we could talk cricket as much as you like, because this is a very, very favoured place of our cricketers to come to Sri Lanka, of course. And many of our cricketers I know are heroes and increasingly heroines, because we've got great women cricketers. But I'd also worked in mental health, and I'd done a lot of work in understanding policy, and I started out life as a lawyer. So I was born in Canberra. I'm the first Governor-General to be born in Canberra, and I studied law and arts at ANU. And so I understand the Constitution, and I frequently visited the High Court when I was doing my degree, and felt I understood the seat of government and the relationship with through the Constitution with the various arms of our parliament and our democracy. I think there's one other aspect that the Prime Minister was aware of that I'm very proud of, and says something about one of the other skills I think that the Governor-General does need, and that is, I am the daughter of a veteran, an army officer who served Australia for 40 years in the Signals Corps. So I grew up in an army family. I'm the eldest of 4 girls in that family. My father is still alive in his 90s, and having been brought up in a military family, I was always aware of the role that defence and defence families had played in Australia's very storied history. And in this role, in the Commander-in-Chief component, a view and an understanding of the role of our defence and the history of our engagements with peace and security and the defence of democracy around the world was important. I think understanding that as a member of a family, as more and more countries think about the role of veterans and the families of people who serve, it gives me an insider's view, I think. So when I meet defence personnel, my first question is how their family's doing, and how does defence take care of its veterans and their families. So that shapes me. I also grew up in a family of service. So the idea of serving the country in this form, I didn't expect it would ever come in this form, but I had watched my father over the course of his life serve the country in the army, my mother in the service of the army, raising a family to support him. And so that has been very important to me, to be able to bring that to bear in this role. There is another feature, one last feature, it's a pretty big one. I'm only the second woman to serve in the Office of Governor-General. Dame Quentin Bryce was appointed in 2007. And other than Dame Quentin, all other holders of the office have been men. And so 2 out of 28 so far.
Sure.
I think the Prime Minister probably was thinking about the fact that it was time for a woman of merit and of capability to be asked to serve. And I take that seriously. But I also believe that gender should not be the determinant factor.
Yeah.
It should be a job and an office that is open to anyone who has the skills, attributes and determination and commitment to serve the country.